Hey YouTube, this is Rishika. So this video would be my 39th video tutorial in the series of DataStage videos. So in the previous tutorials I pretty much dealt with processing stages, like the important processing stages, file stages and the database stages. So now I'm trying to deal with development or debug stages. So in this category, development and debug category, we dealt with head stage and tail stage, so we are done with that. So now let's deal with the sample stage. Okay, so it's pretty much similar to head and tail stages, like extracting rows basically. So but it's not like you're extracting the top rows or extracting the bottom rows. It's something like random, you're trying to extract the random rows. Okay, so yeah, let's get into the theory part. So basically this is development and debug stage, obviously. So yeah, it can have a single input link and a single output link, but okay, so it can have single output link when it operates in one type. Basically this sample stage has two different operations, like sample mode. One is percent and the other is period. So when you're trying to when you're trying this sample mode as percent, you can have you should have like more than one link, right? Because that doesn't, I mean, if percentage, right? So if you're trying to deal with, like, if you're trying to write a few percentage to one row, one file, and the other percentage to another file, so obviously that makes sense, right? So yeah, that's the reason it allows more than one output. But when you choose this sample mode percent as period, it doesn't allow more than one output link. I mean, though it can have it, but when you're trying to compile it, it says the sample stage is running in period mode, so it can't have more than one output link. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much about the links for the sample stage in the data stage. Okay, so now let's get into the theory part for the properties and all that. After that we're gonna discuss about example. Okay, so yeah, so obviously, okay, the first is percentage thing, percent thing, because the sample mode is percent. As I said, we can have like two different sample modes. One is percent and the other one is period. So when we choose, by default it's always percent. Okay, so when it is percent, it has a property it has a property called percent, right? So this is where you write, I mean, you just specify what percentage of the input rows are you trying to write it to the specific output link. Okay, so yeah, this output link number, it can have like, it should vary. It is, if you read it here, it's pretty much any, like, basically it's an integer, so any number you can give it here, so that that specific output link gonna write it to the, like, that specific percentage of the rows. Okay, so yeah, you might be wondering what happens if I want to have like more than one output links, right? So that's where you go to this options and see this available properties to add. So it has percentage option, right? So if you see this, it's a repeatable property, right? It's a repeatable property and it has sub properties. So it has dependable sub property, right? So whenever you try to have this options, okay, let's say you have one more output link. So by default, when you choose option, when you choose this percentage option, by default this output link number sub property is added to this category, right? Because it doesn't make sense if you just write the percentage here and you don't specify the output link number, because it doesn't understand which output link you're trying to write, right? So yeah, that's pretty much. And you might be wondering, let's say you have written like 50% here, and then some 25 here, and if you have another output link that's 25 or something. Yeah, the important thing is, it's not mandatory that you should have like whole sum should come up to 100%. You can have 10 and 15, that's it. You're not really worrying about all the I mean, it's not mandated that whatever the percentage you're trying to choose, it should make up to 100%. But if you're trying to choose many links, if you're trying to write all the records to different output links based on the percentages, yeah, the percentage obviously should not exceed 100. It's not mandated to choose to be exactly 100% with all the output links, but it should not exceed 100, right? Because if you write 150%, it doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense at all. So yeah, that's the reason you should make sure that it's running good way. Okay, and next thing is, okay, so the percentage 50, let's specify here 0, and here let me specify 1. You can have any number, like see here, insert job parameter, so you can have this output link number as any number, or you can click on these arrows just to specify the number. Okay, so yeah, it can have negative numbers, it doesn't matter. So yeah, let me choose 1 now. Okay, let me choose 1. Okay, so this first link is numbered 0, and the second, which has 25%, is written to number 1. So what are these links? So we don't know 0 and 1, we are not naming it, we are just numbering it, right? So if you want to know which is 0 and which is 1, where I write 50 and 25, go to this link ordering tab. And okay, because we have only one link, one output link, that's the reason it's showing just 1. But if you have like more than, because now it's DS link is 0, right? I mean, DS link 17 is labeled 0. And if you have another link, other output links, let's say DS link 18, that gonna be 1. So by this, you can change this. You can, if you have like more than one output links, you can just click on this and change the link order. So you can basically choose which percentage should be returned to the which output. Okay, even after you give the specified file, it doesn't matter. Okay, so yeah, that's about the percentage. And these max total rows means it just gives like what are all the like maximum number of rows to be returned to the output, right? Because let's say if you have like 10 rows and you're trying to write only max rows are like 5. So of these 5 rows, this 50% and 25% will be written. So output 50 and 25, if you combine number of rows from 50% and 25%, there will be only 5 rows. Okay, so that's maximum total rows option. And yeah, the other option is, if I remove this, you have seen maximum total rows, right? And there is another property also, which is called maximum rows per partition. So but if you choose maximum total rows and go to options, it doesn't okay, yeah, let me just give here, okay, let me just give here some number. Okay, and now go to options. See, because you specified maximum total rows, now when you click on the options, it doesn't have maximum rows per partition, alright? Because it really doesn't make sense to me, at least, because once we had already chosen maximum total rows, that means you have specified a number that you want to be returned to the output irrespective of the partitions, right? So again, if you choose maximum total rows, that doesn't make total rows per partition, that doesn't make sense, right? So yeah, and now if you choose maximum rows per partition and give, let's say, 12 or something, and now maximum rows will be not. So just to make sure that if one works, the other one is, it doesn't really happen. I mean, it doesn't really happen to use that, right? So yeah, that's the reason if you choose one, the other one is like disabled or just doesn't appear anymore. So maximum rows per partition means, unlike maximum rows, it gives a maximum number per partition. Okay, so this 12 rows means obviously number of rows written to the output, because my project has 2 nodes, so my output will contain 24 rows. Okay, so 12 from each partition, so 24 rows. Okay, so that's maximum rows per partition. And what's next? Seed is just like simple thing. Basically what happens in this sample stage is, when you're trying to use this percentage thing, it randomly selects this input records, right? It itself creates a random generator, and then based on that random number generator, it's gonna have the percentage links. But when you try to have like seed, it is basically you're specifying a number which can initiate the random number generator. So you're trying to customize the random number generator, though it cannot be seen in the output, but you're trying to customize. You're trying to say that, okay, start from this number, this specified number, and go on from there. Okay, so you're just specifying, you're just trying to create a sequence from whatever the number sorry, from whatever the number you give. That's it. Okay, so that's all about this sample percent mode. Now let's go to sample period mode. So when you're trying to go, because the sample period mode has different properties, again it says all this the value of property has been changed, so percentage, seed, and these are not valid. So if it is asking us, even though these properties are not valid, are you still wanna continue it? So yes, I want to continue it. And now let's remove this property. Okay, so now sample mode period. Sample mode period means, if you remember in head and tail stages, period is period is like the nth row of the input, right? So whatever number you specify here, that row, every let's say you have okay, period per partition is 2. So what happens is if you have specified 12 rows, out of those 12 rows, every second row will be returned to the output. Okay, so basically you're trying to customize this sample stage. Okay, so yeah, it's just random thing, but it's every second record will be returned to the output. Okay, and same as the percentage mode, it has also other options, but it doesn't have any seed because it's not creating random generator, right? Because it's period per partition, so every mth row will be returned to the output. So max total rows is the same thing, just you're specifying max total rows, how many rows. It's not how many rows need to be selected, it's how many rows need to be returned to the output. Okay, so if you specify max total rows is 6, so okay, let's specify max total rows is somewhere around 6. Okay, so what happens is it writes every second record until it gets 6 rows. Okay, so every second record until it has 6 rows, so output will have 6 rows. Okay, and let's not say okay, let's say max rows per partition. So max rows per partition means, let's say 3. So what happens is it writes every second record per partition, but per partition it's only 3 rows, right? So obviously 3 3 6, right? So per partition it checks for the second row. Okay, so yeah, that's it. And I think yeah, that's pretty much about it. And don't forget, because if it's in period mode, obviously we should have only one output, but if it's in sample mode, just click on this output tab and drop down, and make sure you map all the columns for all whatever number of links you have. You need to map all the columns. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much about this sample stage. So basically it's like head and tail stages, but unlike head and tail stages, you're not choosing top rows or bottom rows, but you're just choosing it based on the percent mode or period mode. So yeah, you can customize it in randomly, like percentage thing. Like let's say you have something and you don't know what's happening with the data. If you're not sure that something is wrong happening, but you're not sure if it's in the head or tail. I mean, if you know that top records or a few first 100 records, 1,000 records are having problem, then you can go for head stage. And if you're sure of last records, then you go to tail stage. But if you're not sure, and if you just want to randomly check if everything is working fine, then go for the sample stage. Okay, so that's the reason it's called development or debug stages, right? You're trying to execute, if you're trying to know what might be the errors or where might be the errors. you're just trying to make sure, you're just trying to ensure that the data is right. Okay, so yep, that's pretty much about the sample stage as of now. So yeah, let me just get into an example. So okay, let me just dump the data first. So server is Oracle and username Scott and password, and yes, I do want to have runtime, and let's say EMP. Okay, and columns, load and plugin EMP. Okay, so yeah, my columns are dumped, and let me just view the data just for the safety purpose. It should work good because I'm using it frequently, so it should be good, I guess. Okay, so it looks good. So we are done with the input. Now let's go to the sample stage. So when we click on the sample stage, okay, I'm gonna because it's percentage mode is pretty simpler. You're just gonna have like percentage, and yeah, you're just gonna define percentage and different output links. So I'm not gonna show this percentage thing, but I'll just restrict it to period. But though I'll explain this max rows per partition and max total rows and all thing. So because I'm trying to explain period because it's little confusing, but whereas percentage is like very simple because you just specify percentage and specify the output link number, right? Yeah, though I don't show the example completely, I'll try to show the link ordering and all those things in the percentage mode. Okay, so yeah, let's now deal with period. Okay, so okay, let's take it like max. Okay, let's not get into this first. Let's get into the initial thing, like the basic thing. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do a sample in period mode. And what is this period is period per partition, right? So I'm trying to write every second record per partition. So I do have 14 rows, so 14 rows per partition, I mean equally a round robin. Let's say it's round robin, so it's gonna divide into 7 and 7, right? So 7 and 7, every second row will be returned to the output. Okay, so yeah, let's it doesn't matter, I mean even though you choose round robin or anything. Okay, let's choose round robin. Okay, so yeah, everything is good, and you need not worry about link ordering because by default link label is always 0. Even if you don't specify, it's always 0. Okay, so yep, that's it. And don't forget to map your output columns. Good, and then give it to the output file. That's it. Okay, and after this, once we choose this, once we get the data, I'm gonna compare it with the input data and know what's happening. Okay, oh sorry, I didn't run it right. Okay, so that's it. This is like I'm being stupid. Okay, and just run the job, and okay, so yeah, the job is done. So out of 14 rows, I didn't specify anything, right? I just specified period. I want to write every second row per partition. Okay, so yeah, it has written 6 rows. So now let's view the output data and then compare it with the input, and let's see how it gonna work out. Okay, while it comes that, let's discuss about this. Okay, so this is my partition 0 data. I mean, this is my, I chose the round robin, right? So because it's round robin, let's forget about this for a moment. Okay, so okay, so because I chose, if you remember, I chose the round robin partition technique, right? So because I chose the round robin partitioning technique, this is how my data gonna divide between the two nodes. So this 7369 is the first record, so it's going to the first partition, and 7499 is the second record, so it's going to the second partition. and this is third record, so again to the first partition, and fourth record to the second partition. So this is how the round robin technique works, right? So yeah, so now what did I say? This is my input data, okay, after partitioning. So now after partitioning, what did I say? I choose period per partition is 2, right? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to extract every second row in the partition, every second row in each partition. Okay, so whatever the how many second rows will be written, I mean out of these 7, 1, 3 and 4, yeah, out of these 7, every second row will be written. So what is the second row? 7, 5, 2, 1, right? So okay, so 7, 5, 2, 1 will be written, and then what's the second row again? What is the second row? This is the second row, right? And what's the second row? It's third and then fourth. It's again second row, right? Because this is 1. Okay, let me just put it this way. So this is 1 and this is 2 and 1 again and then 2. Okay, and then 1 again and then 2, and this is 1 again, right? So the same way it's 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and sorry I know I'm being silly, but I just want to make sure that you guys, everyone, like that, even the common man who don't know anything about the DataStage needs to know what's happening. So that's the reason I'm just making it more simpler and simpler. I'm sorry guys if I'm wasting your time, but yeah, anyways, so this is the second record, right? So we are trying to write every second record in each partition, right? So this is the second record, and again what's the second record? This 7782, right? So now it's gonna write 7782, and now after that what's the second record again? 7876, right? So 7876 will be the next record. 7876. Okay, so these are the 3 records. These 3 are the records which will be returned to the output from partition first partition, like partition 0. Okay, so now let's see which records will be written. So the second partition, the second record is this. On the second partition, the second record will be 7566, and again what's the second record? 7788, right? So 7788, and what's again the second record? It's 7900, right? So yeah, it's just a moment. Yeah, it's 7900. Okay, so these 3 are the records which will be written from the first partition, and these 3 records will be written from the second partition, right? So, and what did we say? Because it's ascending and round robin, so first this record will be written, and then 7566, then 7782 and 7788, 7876 and 7900. So every second record from each partition will be written. So that's the reason we are ending up with 6 rows. Okay, so let's now check if these are the 3 records written from each partition. Okay, so see here. So 7521. Okay, this is good. Okay, and then and then 7566. So 7566 is the second record on the second partition, right? First record on the second partition, right? So 7566, and then 7782 here again, and then 7788, 7876 and 7900, right? So this makes a lot of sense, right? So this is how the period mode works in this what do I say, sample stage. Okay, so now let's see, let's incorporate this maximum total rows. Okay, so let's say maximum total rows is okay, let's say 4. Okay, so maximum total rows is 4. 4 means it's not that it's not customizing the input, it's customizing the output. So what happens now is 4 records will be written to the output, right? So how the 4 records will be written, right? Okay, so yeah, it's not the input thing, but you're trying to write only 4 rows to the output based on this period per partition. Okay, so now let's try to run this, compile and run this job, and let's see what's happening. Okay, so and while it is in the running stage, let's get into again this thing. Okay, so what did we do now? We choose the total number of rows is total is equal to 4, right? And this 4 is not input but output, right? So because we chose the round robin technique, 7 5 2 1 7 7 8 2 7 8 7 6 and all these, right? So now what I'm gonna do is, okay, let me just open another notepad. Okay, so what now happens is, I mean, what is expected to happen is, I don't know if I choose anything wrong, but what generally is expected is, so 7 5 2 1 7 5 6 6 7 7 8 2 7 7 8 8 7 8 7 6 and 7 9 0 0. These are the records which will be written to the output if we choose period per partition, right? 6 records period per partition if period per partition is second 2, right? So now I choose the same period per partition, so this should be the one which should be written to the output. But what did I say? I chose that I want only 4 4 rows to be written to the output, right? So out of these, only 4 records will be written to the output. So as if I'm right, the first 4 records will be written to the output, I guess. Okay, so now let's see. Okay, so 4 is good. So because we choose 4, yeah, that looks good. Now let's get into the data and see if it's right or not. Okay, so yeah, what did I say? The 4 records, right? So out of these, so output should be only 7 5 2 1 7 5 6 6 7 7 8 2 and 7 8 7 6, right? So these are the only 4 records that should be written to the output because we choose period per partition. So yep, this is period per partition, but I told DataStage that I'm not interested in seeing all of them, but I'm just interested in seeing the first 4. Okay, it's not first 4 but just 4. So when you say just 4 records, only the first 4 will be considered, right? So yeah, first 4, right? 7 8, okay, 7 7 8 8, sorry, 7 7 8 8. So these are the first 4 records that will be returned to the output. So now let's check it with this. Yep, 7 5 2 1, right? 7 5 6 6, right? 7 7 8 2 and 7 7 8 8. So yep, we are good. So that's how the maximum total rows gonna work. Now let's see the last option. Unless you remove this max total rows, any other available properties will not be there because it's total rows, right? It doesn't make sense again to choose total rows per partition. Okay, so you need to remove this to choose to get these available properties. Now let's choose max rows per partition. Okay, so now let's max rows per partition. Let's make it okay 2 again. Okay, so let's make it 2 and let's compile again and run the job and see. So what I'm trying to do on this is max rows per partition, right? So max rows per partition means from each partition I need 2 records. Okay, so okay, let's make it 1. Let's make it 1. It's going to be complicated if I choose to, because we do have only 6 rows. So max rows partition makes it like another 4 rows, so that will not be there. So okay, anyways, no confusion. I'm talking in my mind, but I'm just saying it loud. So just no worries. Let's choose maximum row per partition is 1. So what does that mean is I'm trying to choose only 1 row per partition. Okay, it's not again about the input. I'm not trying to customize my input saying 1 row per partition, but I'm customizing about my output rows. Okay, so it's gonna first read this it's gonna first understand things period per partition, and then over this property it's gonna execute this max rows per partition. Okay, so let's compile and see how that gonna work. And meanwhile we can also just explain it to ourselves how does that happen, right? So yeah, so okay, so this is my data, right? Like period per partition. So period per partition is, let's say period per partition is equal to 2. Okay, and max max rows per partition is 1. Okay, so period, when I say period per partition, these are the records which will be written, right? But once these are the records that are written, that are like need to be returned to the output, this max row per partition is executed, this property or function is executed over this output, period per partition output. So once we have all these things, max rows per partition going to execute, right? So what does a max rows per partition mean? It means one row per partition, right? So I'm just interested in only one row per partition. So out of these, I just need one row per partition. So what is the first row in the first partition? This is written to the first partition, right? So first partition is 7521, and because it's round robin technique, this is written to the partition 0, and this is written to 1 and 0 again, and this is 1. So this is the way how it is written to the output, right? Like based on the round robin partitioning technique. So because I choose maximum rows per partition, the first row from the first partition, which is 7521, will be written, and now the first row from the second partition will be written. Okay, so what's that? 7566. So 7566, that's it. Because it gonna stop there because it has one row per partition, right? So this is the first row, this is the one row from first partition, and this is the other row from the second partition. So that's it. That's all we have. So now let's see if we have analyzed our data correct, and if our analyzed data gonna match the output data. So yep, see here, 7521, yep, 7521 and 7566. So that's it. That's pretty much about this sample mode period. Okay, so yep, that's pretty much it. Now let's get into this percentage mode. As I said earlier, I don't want to show example again because it's pretty much the same thing. I just want to show the link ordering tab and all these things. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put like 2 or 3 tabs. Okay, so if you choose like the percentage, let's say 10 here, and go to this means repeatable property, right? So just click on this repeatable property, and let's say 10, again 15 or something, let's say 25 or something. Okay, so and we do have one more output link. So output link number, usually I start from 0 and then go to 1, and then yeah, meanwhile I just start from 0. I'm not sure, but usually I started from 0. Okay, so now we can see. Okay, so let's say you want this ds link 17 to be is to be 2. Okay, so let's say you have 50% on this, and 50% need to be returned to this output. So let's just click on this and just go to this. See, now 17 is written to this 2. So 2 means what is, just if you have like one other output, let's say 50, so that's gonna be output link number 2. Okay, so this is that's pretty much about this thing. And as I said, don't forget to output your map your rows, or map your data to the output link. So just click on this and just map it. Just map it. It depends on what rows you actually want to choose. So it basically varies from output to output, I guess. But yeah, because just we are dealing with it, so yeah, don't forget to map this and try to understand your link ordering tab too. Okay, that's pretty much about this. And this maximum rows per partition, max total rows, it's exactly same as the period mode. These rows, we are not trying to do this percentage on the input, but out of those rows the percentage will be written to the output. Okay, and the seed, it's just a random generated number. You're trying to customize your random generated number. Okay, so honestly speaking, I didn't use the seed, but yeah, it's people just say it's a random generated number, but I didn't ever use that seed for some reason. I don't know. Okay, so that's pretty much it. You can try this percentage mode, percent mode in sample stage. So yeah, you can have like 10 and 25, and other gonna let's say other is 50. So how what percentage that gonna make up, right? 50, 75 and 10, 85, right? So it doesn't matter, that's okay. But if you try to choose it like 100 here and then make it 25, then it doesn't make sense, because it throws some error, because it's making up 125%, right? And that doesn't really make sense at all, right? So yep, that's pretty much about this sample stage. I hope you all have understood. I thought it would be like very simple stage with simple thing, but obviously it again made to 35. I'm glad I didn't explain an example and don't want to make it another half an hour and make it like one long video of an hour. So yep, that's pretty much it about the sample stage. So in my next video I'll deal with column generator, yeah, column generator in one video, and then row generator, peak, and right range map. That's it. That's when we are done with this development and debug stages, and then we get all the bootstrap and then go to the what all the processing stages we have left in our earlier videos. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and you are the guys who always make me keep inspiring me to do more videos. Otherwise I would have quit long time ago. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and keep subscribing to my channel, and please do spread the word, because the ultimate aim is just to make everyone comfortable with the DataStage. Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you so much for watching.